strikeouts upon his return. Strikes out Blackman on a curveball looking and gets LeMahieu with a 97-mile-per-hour fastball swinging.
Good pitch by Marco Gonzalez.
Strike three called. That'll do it. By far the best outing for Marco Gonzalez.
That's 4 in a row. And a strike three call with a strikeout for Pivetta. 7 overall in the game. Got him swinging on a breaking ball. 8 strikeouts for Pivetta.
Luke Weaver strikes out the side in the 7th inning, and he finished with a fourth. What another good outing this has been for Luke Weaver.
Swing and a miss, curveball. That's why you can mix in the other pitches. It can be tough.
It's not a no-hitter, but it's a complete game shutout for Matthew Boyd. What an effort here in the Motor City.
Hey everyone, welcome to 1225 Live. I am Alexa Datt, joined by our MLB columnist, Will Leitch. We're going to have a lot of fun today. It is Hump Day, and the Nationals celebrated in style. Will's going to tell us all about that. We're also going to talk about the Astros first baseman undergoing hand surgery, where they are going to turn to fill that spot. We're going to start the show today with some interesting news. Feels like kind of like a 10-year throwback, because we're going to talk about Tim Lincecum.
Tim Lincecum,
making a comeback in the majors. So ironic, crazy, wild here. The fact that he signs with the Rangers, and he's going to compete for a closer role. What are your thoughts on this?
Have you seen Lincecum? He's like jacked now. He's really kind of amazing. Listen, the sport of baseball is so much more interesting with Tim Lincecum in it.
Sure.
He's always been like this eccentric character, both just in style on the mound, but just personality. It's better having him in the game. I know he kind of had an aborted comeback a couple of years ago. To see him come back, the idea that Tim Lincecum would transform himself into a closer for a team that is trying to contend, that's kind of an exciting thing to watch.
Do you think that he's actually going to be pitching in meaningful games at the end of the season with the Rangers?
I don't think there's any reason to have Tim Lincecum on your team and make him be your, if the starter gets rocked, put him in the 4th inning guy. Like, you want Tim Lincecum to, he's pitched in big games. He's had those moments. If he's on your team, if he makes it to September with that team, of course he will have done enough to make it where you want to have him in those clutch situations.
Right.
It's great. Timmy is back.
Well, it'll be cool too, because we've seen guys in the past couple of years like Wade Davis, Brad Hand, Andrew Miller do this conversion, and it'll be great to see another guy to be able to add it to the list and be able to complete that comeback, right? He's 2-time Cy Young Award winner. He's 33 years old. He's got a lot riding against him, I feel like, but also if he's in great shape and worked himself back to become, really formidable in the majors, why not? Why not, Timmy?
Yeah, you almost wonder if he would have been, because his obviously style was so different and kind of
right.
If they would have done this maybe earlier, if you pushed him. Obviously, you don't take a Cy Young winner and immediately put him in the bullpen, but you could sort of foresee maybe bullpen was kind of a role that always kind of made a lot of sense for him. I'm rooting for him. It's just a better game with him in it.
All right, so I got a trivia question for you involving Tim Lincecum, and I'm curious to see if you can get this. So, Tim Lincecum was one of 4 pitchers to throw a complete game no-hitter in 2014. 2014, okay. Name the other 3.
Oh, heavens. Oh, heavens to Betsy. Okay, so there was Tim Lincecum.
Yes.
Was that an Irvin Santana year?
No, it was not.
Okay.
One of them was pitching for the Nationals at the time.
Would that be Scherzer?
No.
I'm doing terribly.
But it was
I'm naming actual
Sousa
baseball
Jr.
players.
Caught the last out in left field, that crazy final out, if you remember that. His last name is the same as another National who's on the team.
Zimmerman, George Zimmerman.
Jordan Zimmerman, that's one.
Okay.
The other
They're
one...
spelled differently. One of them has an extra N in
2
there.
N's,
right,
yes.
Right.
Jordan Zimmerman has 2 N's. The other one is he pitches for the Dodgers.
Pitches for the Dodgers. Currently pitches for the Dodgers.
Currently pitches for the Dodgers.
Let's see. Who's running around the rotation right now? Not Kershaw.
Yes.
It is Kershaw.
It is Kershaw.
Oh, he pitches
That's
for
why
the
I couldn't
Dodgers.
give you any more hints. I was like,
he pitches for the Dodgers.
Pitches for the Dodgers.
He's literally the best pitcher you've ever seen in your life.
That's
that would
right.
be a good hint as well.
And I believe this last pitcher did it when he was with the Red Sox, maybe? He did pitch with the Red Sox at some point in his career. But the last one, I'm just going to give it to you because it's harder to guess, is Josh Beckett.
Josh Beckett, wow. That's like he had that late career win.
Right, yeah. It was kind of like a weird one where it kind of came out of nowhere.
We weren't even sure that he was going to still be in baseball, and then he throws a no-hitter out of nowhere. I think we didn't hear from him since.
Yeah, he actually did it with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
That now that in my mind is...
well, he finally had a chance to have an exciting moment other than also closing a World Series
and
doing all sorts of amazing things.
Exactly. All right, so... We gave you a couple of chances to guess. You didn't get it, but I'm going to give you a consolation prize anyway.
Okay.
This is our friend, Dear Chair. on
that
Twitter.
is wonderful.
He's going to commemorate the Rangers season with a Tim Lincecum Bartolo Colon drawing.
You know, I always joke about having like an MLB.TV rankings, like just when at night when there's like a random team on, you don't know who you want to watch. The Rangers are now that team.
Of course.
If there's Colon and Lincecum on the same team, they are cut for material.
I'm rooting for Bartolo Colon just as hard as I'm rooting for Tim Lincecum.
Absolutely.
All right. So Andrew Simon wrote a really cool article on MLB.com about young pitchers that he thinks are going to have a breakout season. So if you want to go check that article out on MLB.com, you absolutely can. But we are asking you that for our question of the day today. So head on over to Facebook and give me a young breakout pitcher you think is going to have a fantastic 2018, and we will answer those questions and we'll share those with you a little bit later on in the show. All right, we're going to talk about some things what we saw in spring training. I know a lot of people are going back and forth and reading headlines on social media, but we want to show you actual footage. So for today, we are going to show you a little bit of Eric Hosmer, a little bit of John Lester, and a little bit of Reece Hopkins from yesterday's game in our debut segment, 3 Things You Missed.
Reece Hosmer, his second at-bat, came up in the first inning and lined out to shortstop. Right side and threw into right field, a base hit for Eric Hosmer. Freddie Galva's coming around, is going to try and score. Throw goes to third, run in. And Eric Hosmer gets his first hit in the Padres uniform here during the spring and drives in his first run. The Padres are on the board.
John Lester, year number 4 for John in a Cub uniform.
Swing and a miss. The curveball to get him. He got him on the outside corner for strike 3.
Castillo sets up over the outside edge. Lester throws a dart.
So Moncada down on strikes. These last 2 sequences, pretty vintage John Lester, right?
Yeah.
Inside, outside corners.
A high fly ball to deep left field. Matuk going back toward the wall. He jumps and it is gone. The first spring training home run of the year for Reece Hopkins, and it was a mile high.
Good hitters don't miss mistakes. Reece Hopkins did not miss that one.
Pretty cool to see Reece Lightning back, right?
Oh, I mean, it's like he didn't. The winter did not happen. Just another one of those. There's something definitive. Like that ball just barely went over the fence, but the minute he hit it, you're like, oh, that's gone. You're so used to seeing that with Hoskins. It's just awesome to see.
It's pretty incredible. It's also awesome to see live, by the way, if you get a chance to see it at your local ballpark this season. All right, another big storyline coming out of camp is the fact that Yuri Gurriel had hand surgery today, and according to the Astros, he is going to be out for 5 to 6 weeks. He's going to start the year on the DL. Here he is there with in his hospital room. He was in Houston for this surgery, and this is going to be a big deal for this team. They're going to look in-house in order to replace him, but you never want to lose your first baseman, obviously, to start the season.
Yeah, it's funny because my colleague Mike Petriello at MLB.com had been arguing for a long time for Lucas Duda to be as a logical person to the Astros. He's now off the market.
Right.
So, again, it's the Astros. The Astros are not going to fall apart because they don't have their top-tier first baseman. They've got offense everywhere. They have in-house options. But certainly, it's not an ideal thing because when you start out with something like this, your season, he's already got a suspension coming up too. It's kind of an odd way to start first season for a guy that you're expecting to be your first baseman all year.
Right, tacking on those 5 games as well. Man, that's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. But we definitely wish him the best and a speedy recovery. All right, time for prediction time with you. We're going to have you, go
I'm bad at trivia,
these.
but I'm good at predictions because you won't even know they're wrong.
Well, don't worry, this isn't being recorded, so it's not like anyone can tell, right?
Yeah, good, exactly.
All right, so we got Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton who are going to be in the lineup for the first time this spring, and I know a lot of people are down there really excited to see these two. How many home runs do you think that these two are going to hit in 2018?
It's funny. I'm actually the under person on this.
Okay.
It's funny. New York, you think we're all excited because they're both in New York City and how fun that is. But remember, Judge is obviously an incredible player, but he's prone to like those months where things don't go well, and then he'll just be a monster for the next month. It all evens out.
Right.
Imagine if that happens in April. Like, imagine if Judge has a slow April and all of a sudden every New York tabloid is like, is he intimidated by Stanton? What happened to our M&M boys? And all. And I feel like it sounds perfect because they just both had these amazing seasons putting them together. I'll put the under. I still feel like we're looking at like 80, 85. I know some people want to go 100. 80, 85 sounds right. And frankly, I even worry that's a little high.
Who hits more?
I think it's Stanton. I think Stanton hits more. I think if Stanton stays healthy, but because he's actually shown himself to be. Judge still has big holes in his swing. Obviously, if he hits the ball, it's gone. But think about where we were at the beginning of last year. The Yankees were more excited about Greg Bird than they were about Aaron Judge. There's obviously he got hot. Obviously, he's turned out to be a great player.
Right.
But there's still issues. We saw in the postseason there were some issues with him. He's got holes where I don't think Stanton necessarily has as many.
All right, J.D. Martinez signs to the Red Sox. Is the rivalry back on between these two teams? Who's going to win the division?
Yeah, it's nice to have them hating each other again.
It's the best.
There's going to be fights in the stands again.
Oh,
don't fight in the stands. It's really bad. But it is exciting to see the Red Sox and Yankees back at it again. I think people are kind of underselling the Red Sox a little bit. I think because the Yankees had this big offseason, the Red Sox still won the division last year.
Sure.
You have Price, who's back in the rotation and is healthy. I know you couldn't have possibly had a more nightmarish year. You think that can get better. And now they've got that big power bat that they didn't have. I think these teams are very close. I think the Red Sox rotation is clearly better than the Yankees. I think the Yankees lineup is, I think, stronger than the Red Sox. If you put all that together, I feel like these teams are going to be neck and neck, and you love the idea that there's going to be September games. Obviously, with the idea of the wild card, big deal. You don't want to be in that wild card game. Those games, when they brought the wild card game, this is what they were hoping for.
Sure.
To have games like that between two rivals matter in September, and you can totally see it this year.
Well, and the way the schedule plays out, they play each other more at the end of the year this year, where they didn't do that last year, and it was the first year in a while. It was bizarre because it really didn't come down to the two of them playing each other, and everyone was like, what's going on? That's not how September baseball works between the Red Sox and the Yankees, so they were able to kind of finagle the schedule, make it happen this year, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
And they really do look like even teams in different ways.
Yeah,
but they actually look very much like even teams.
All right, so moving down in the division, you focused on the Blue Jays recently, and you think that they're going to finish third in this division, which is pretty interesting. Do you still feel that way with the Marcus Stroman injury?
Yeah, I actually feel like they're kind of almost locked in that third spot. And to say that the Yankees and Red Sox are clearly better, and I think the Orioles and Rays are clearly worse. Now, I think the difference is where that range of what the Blue Jays can do. If you look at like Fangraphs projections, actually has them winning like 87 games this year. That's not accounting for Stroman. But again, it's not like Stroman is definitely out for 2 months or something.
Correct.
To me, I like a lot of their additions that they made. Even a guy like Randall Grichuk, like in right field, he's a huge power hitter. A lot of StatCast numbers are really, really high on him. You can see they're making kind of this quiet little soft. Listen, this offseason they're like, are they going to trade Donaldson? Are they going to fold it? I kind of like that they've made these little ads on the margin that I think will help them out. I think they're clearly a third place team, and I think they're even a potential wild card contender.
Yeah, and they had such a bad year last year, uncharacteristically, that people were like, they have to be better than that. I love that you shout out Grichuk because you're a big Cardinals fan, so I know that you're used to seeing him.
I wish him luck. I wish him luck. Welcome Dominic Leone.
Absolutely. All right, to the NL East, Nationals celebrating Hump Day in style today, which was really bizarre to see. They had actual camels in camp because Dave Martinez is like, since I first got here, all I've been hearing about is this proverbial hump that we can't get over. So why not just throw it right in your face? Let's not skirt around the issue. Let's pretend like I'm going to throw it right in your face and we're going to get over it. And this is just amazing. This is awesome that the guys were all able to pet this camel and have these guys ride in on style. But here is Nats manager Dave Martinez on why.
My intentions were to bring the hump to us. Everybody, the proverbial hump question that we've all tried to answer. I want these guys out there. I want it out there. I want them to. For me, as I thought about it, the hump is every day, and I want them to embrace it, not fear it. And have fun with it.
He's not a Joe Madden disciple by any chance, is he? I mean, it's just incredible,
I'm
right?
expecting mimes in camp at some point. It's worth noting, though, that camels have two humps. So it's not just getting over the hump.
No.
Now, maybe he's like,
There's
okay,
several.
the first hump is the NLDS and the second hump is the NLCS, depending on. But
do they get over the hump, do you think, though?
I mean, I thought they were going to do it last year. That was all set up for them. I mean, it's hard to believe in them, frankly. Not because they're obviously a really good team.
Sure.
And listen, this is the problem with the short series. You can have a better team and not break through.
Yeah.
Certainly, it looks like they should be. That the rotation is solid. They're going to be able to. They're going to probably have the division won by the beginning of September. They'll be able to set it up. But again,
I think it actually hurt them last year, though, to have the division shored up. A month.
I think so.
Left to go in the season.
Well, I think it may happen again this year because it's hard to see another challenger there. But listen, that's a good problem to have. The problem is, of course, actually getting there. And I think it's hard for any national fan to believe in it at this point. And I think that's a fun little way to kind of acknowledge the camel in the room, I suppose. But you still have to actually do it.
All right, so the Mets are hoping to challenge the Nationals in this division, and it's going to be interesting to see how they pull that off, because in Mets news recently, when asked whether Jacob deGrom is going to be ready for the first week of the season, Mickey Callaway said, "We're not totally clear on that." He said, "We have to see how this throwing program goes and go from there." They have a slew of injuries that have already hit this Mets team this spring. Time to hit the panic button yet?
Well, the Mets fans always hit the panic button even when everything's going fine.
First injury.
Yeah, everything is going across. It's also worth noting, too, listen, I know Noah Syndergaard is very exciting that he went out and threw 100 miles an hour in his first spring thing. Does he need to be doing that? I mean, I know Syndergaard gets really excited. It's really fun, but, like, there's a reason they discourage you for throwing 100 miles an hour in February. And so I think particularly when this team, it's funny, when you talk about the Mets, wow, is their rotation going to stay healthy? If they can, they'll do it. Yeah, we say that every year, and the rotation stayed healthy once, and that was the year they went to the World Series.
Right.
It's hard. I actually like some of the moves the Mets have made this offseason on the margins. I think they've made some good little additions. I think they're a better team that's appreciated, but it's all going to come down to the rotation. And if DeGrom's already delayed, and again, you look at Syndergaard like, wow, that is how a human being should throw a baseball. That's amazing they can do that. Why are you doing this in February? That's the main concern about Syndergaard is stay healthy.
Right.
It's a weird thing to do in February. I know he's a competitor and you want to do it, but, like, it's February.
You just want someone there to tell him to pump the brakes.
Yeah. But this is the thing with the Mets, right?
There,
yeah, like this is kind of the thing with the Mets. It always feels like there's a message over here. There's a message. I think media is a part of that. Like there's always something going on with those regards. But certainly, it never feels like everyone's on the same page there. And this is a team that needs everything to go right. If everything goes right, I think they can challenge the Nationals. But already things aren't going right.
Right, exactly. All right, so let's talk about the NL Central now, a division you are very familiar with. Cubs, Brewers, and Cardinals all make...
St. Louis. Then St. Louis. That's
right. All make big moves this offseason. How do you think this division shakes out?
I still feel like the Cubs are a pretty comfortable favorite. You know, last year, a lot of things went wrong for the Cubs last year. A lot of struggles. They had struggles in the rotation. A lot of players they thought were really going to break out. Schwarber had a really bad year. All these things went wrong for the Cubs last year, and they still kind of comfortably won the division, even though the Brewers and the Cardinals were not terrible last year. They still kind of were able to kind of cruise away. I think they're better this year. I think that idea of the hangover after 2016, there does see, you talk to people in Cubs camp, they are excited. Like, they are revved up. They feel like they underachieved last year, by making the NLCS. They underachieved last year. I think adding Darvish was, I think the Cardinals are better than people appreciate. I think the Brewers obviously have made good moves, but the Cubs are clearly the best team in that division, and that's even before you even add. I think if they hadn't even added Darvish, I think they're still the comfortable favorites. With Darvish, I think there's no question.
All right, so the Cubs win the NL Central. That leaves a couple of stragglers to try and figure out what goes on with the NL wildcard race. Who do you think wins the NL West?
I think you got to go with the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers. It's funny thinking about the Dodgers. They have someone like Jock Peterson, who on any other team would be the phenom that they can't wait to take. And sure, he'll have his struggles, but otherwise he's our guy.
Right.
For the Dodgers, it's how long are we going to wait for this guy? Because we have 8 other outfielders that can run in there.
Right.
And that's kind of the fun of the Dodgers. They've got it rolling now. Like, this is what they have. They have the payroll. They have all of these other options and all these possibilities. It's hard to see any team in the West kind of jumping up and standing in the way of the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers may actually be the best team in the National League this year.
Wow, incredible. All right, quickly, before we let you go, give me your 2 NL wildcard teams.
I think one is the Cardinals. I think that lineup in particular is really, really solid this year. There's questions of rotation, but they have a lot of options. I think the bullpen is actually a little better than has been appreciated.
Okay.
I think the other is, I would probably say the Brewers. I think the Brewers are.
Wow.
I think the Brewers are, because I still feel like they're going to get a starter. I feel like there's one more starter. That's kind of what they need. They think get one more starter. That lineup is terrific. Their defense is going to be excellent this year. You saw them on a team that was on the way up. Generally speaking, when a team's on the way up like that, they don't take a big step backward. I think it's a Cardinals-Brewers wildcard this year.
All right, interesting. No faith in the Giants. That's okay, but I got total faith in the Giants. So this is why we do predictions at this point in the season. Will, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Our MLB.com columnist. It's always awesome to see you. By the way, we have Danny, who always joins us here on the show. She's going to rejoin us in studio tomorrow, but she's been down in Florida gathering all kinds of great stuff. Take a little preview as to what she's going to bring us.
We're here at Photo Day. I'm with Trey Mancini, and we are going to play a game of cards. Trey, please pick a card. What do we got?
8.
An 8. Okay. If I handed you $100 right now, what would you do with it?
I think I'd buy myself a $100 gift card to Firehouse Subs. It's it's like my favorite place, my go-to place.
Food that you can't live without.
Oh man, that's a tough one. a sucker for like peanut M&Ms. They're really good. And also peas. Does that sound gross? Peas? I like peas though.
Oh, steak. 100%.
And how do you take your steak? How do you like your steak? Take your steak?
I like it rare.
Rare?
I like it, yeah, dripping. So.
Food I can't live without. I would go with breakfast. I love breakfast. Pancakes.
Bacon?
Bacon, eggs, pancakes.
Canadian bacon?
I haven't had that yet. I think I have, but I'm not too sure, but I'm excited to try it.
We got a 4. Your favorite emojis. What are your favorite emojis?
Smiley.
Can you show me? Can you show the camera? Smiley.
The guy that, has his hand like
A face palm?
Face palm, because I do questionable stuff sometimes, and I just find myself doing that.
My favorite emoji.
The love emoji with the hearts inside, just.
I'd have to say like the laughing, crying face one that's just like dying. So just like, oh God.
We got a bunch of jokesters. I mean, we don't have like a team comedian, someone that sits around and tells jokes, but I think the beauty of this clubhouse is whether you're a guy that's stepping into this clubhouse for the first time, you're a Josh Donaldson MVP, you're a guy that's been in this organization your whole career, everyone's fair game, coaching staff included.
Oh, Danny, we miss you so much. Come back quickly. But you also always enlighten us with some fantastic material. So keep kicking butt down there, and we'll see you back in studio tomorrow. Thank you for all of that content. All right, our question of the day, we want to let you know one more time in case you missed it. Andrew Simon wrote a really great article on MLB.com about the 5 young pitchers that are poised for a breakout season. We want to know who you think that young pitcher that is poised for a breakout year is. Let us know, and we will get those answers on Facebook and then share with everyone here on the show in just a little bit. All right, time for us to head to Phoenix as we welcome in our MLB.com Brewers reporter, Adam McCalvy, who I know was just watching that Danny piece and you were smiling ear to ear.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun, right? She loves doing that stuff, and we love the fact that she is so willing to go down there and get that stuff for us. So pretty cool, and I know you're a big Danny fan. By the way, you can catch Adam McCalvy and myself on the MLB.com Extras podcast, the Brewers edition. So, Adam, let's jump right into it. We got some news out of Brewers camp today. That's where we will start. Catcher Stephen Vogt is going to miss 2 to 3 weeks with an injured throwing shoulder. How is this going to impact the Brew Crew?
Well, he was one of 2 candidates for their second catcher spot. They're going to go with Manny Pena as one of the guys, and then it was Jet Bandy, who's out of options, and Vogt, who really worked hard all winter on improving his throwing. He threw out only 1 of 28 runners, base stealers last year, after the Brewers picked him up off waivers from the A's. So that was a big focus of his. So terrible luck, whether all that work in the offseason contributed to coming in and getting sore right away in camp. Yeah, I don't know that there's a clear answer for that, but it definitely sets him back. And it's going to make it a tough call for the Brewers. Vogt's a 2-time All-Star. They love the bat. They really, though, needed to see what he could do defensively to go with him over Bandy, who, like I said, is out of options. The other thing for Vogt to remember is he's signed to avoid arbitration, and those 1-year deals are non-guaranteed. So if the Brewers end up like they can't get a good enough look at him to be confident that that project worked out, they could let him go at the end of camp, and they only owe a portion of the salary. So it's Vogt all around, and we'll have to see if he can get back before the end of spring training games.
All right, the plan is to have Ryan Braun make his first base debut today. How much time is he actually going to see at first base with Eric Thames on this team?
Well, look, it's 2 separate questions. How much time is he going to see in spring training? The answer is a lot, because this is a totally new position. Remember, he came up as an infielder. He played third base the year he won NL Rookie of the Year, and fielding grounders was not the problem. It was the throws. So they're really confident that he's going to be fine with fielding and catching the ball. But it's all the other little things at first base that is totally new to him, and they are going to try to play him in a lot of these Cactus League games to get used to positioning, shifting, simple things like going and finding the bag to take a throw from an infielder. It's so natural for a guy who's played first base for his entire career. For Ryan Braun, that is new. Cutoffs and relays, first and third plays, all these different things that go into playing that position. It is a harder position than people give credit for, I think. And Ryan Braun is a smart baseball player. Like I said, has some history as an infielder. They think he'll pick it up, but it's just a matter of going through and getting the experience of it. So we'll see today. This first game, they thought, somewhere 3 or 5 innings, get a couple of at-bats. they hope he gets lots of action over there at first base and kind of begin this process.
All right, Ryan Braun, Christian Yelich, Lorenzo Cain, Domingo Santana. That is a lot of talent for 3 outfield spots. How's Craig Counsell going to work this all out?
Yeah. Well, look, this plays into the Ryan Braun at first base thing. The idea is not to have Ryan Braun become the first baseman. The idea is to have him get some at-bats at first base to free up plate appearance for those guys in the outfield. And I think one of the things to remember is the way that GMs build their teams now. They build their teams for depth. And it's no longer 3 outfielders, 1 first baseman. It's no longer 1 guy at each position. It's a group of guys that you can fill games, and they sort of share the spots. So I think that's how the Brewers are looking at their outfield situation, their first base situation. And I think it's kind of on us to change the way we're looking at the way they're building this team. So it's a lot of guys. The possibility of a trade is very much in play. But if they get to the regular season with all of these guys intact, I think Craig Counsell feels like there's enough at-bats to go around that he can get everybody in there. We'll just have to see what this roster looks like when they get to the end of March.
All right, so you said a possibility of a trade that is in play. When do you think that could possibly happen, and who do you think that they would potentially add? All right, we lost Adam there for just a second, and while we try and get him back, we want to remind you that there is tons of spring training action today. So in case you wanted to know, we are going to fill you in on what's going on in the grapefruit and cactus leagues today. We got the Tigers and the Yankees facing off at Steinbrenner Field. Remember, it's going to be the first time Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton will both be in the lineup today. Judge has been held out because of that shoulder surgery. He feels like he is fully recovered, has been swinging well in the cage, and now is ready to go. We're also going to have the Twins taking on the defending champs, Lance McCullers Jr. and that curveball in West Palm Beach at 1:05 p.m. Eastern, so you can check that out. And we're going to also talk about the Mets and Matt Harvey because he makes his spring debut against the Braves in that 1 o'clock hour as well. So, in case you wanted to check out some of that spring training action, you have plenty of opportunity to do so. We welcome Adam McCalvy back to the show here as we work out those technical difficulties. Adam, you mentioned Eric Thames, and we were talking a little bit about what kind of a player he is, and you mentioned he's one of your favorite players to cover. And you also wrote about how he's trying to chill out this year. How does he de-stress? Yeah. What's his go-to?
Yeah, he's one of my favorite players to cover because he's always got something interesting and unexpected, and he is a voracious reader. So coming into back to Major League Baseball, I should say, last year, he read a lot of self-help books. He reads a hitting book every offseason. This year, though, he kind of said he switched to literature, and he's reading The Count of Monte Cristo right now. I think maybe there's a little symbolism there. He's a lot more relaxed this second time through. He knows what to expect in terms of the spring training grind, the grind of the regular season in Major League Baseball compared to what he had for the previous 3 years in the Korea baseball organization. He's just a more relaxed guy. He's got it. And I think maybe there's a little symbolism with his reading choices now. He's reading a little more for fun, where last year he was reading all that self-help stuff.
All right, sounds good. We got Zach Davies on the mound today making his spring debut. What's the team saying they need from Davies this season?
Well, more of the same would be nice. I mean, he was steady in terms of making his 30-plus starts last year. He's going to come in relief. The Brewers are doing introduction of their pitchers. The games came so quick this year that instead of some extra live BPs, they're throwing these guys right into games for an inning or so. So we'll only see Davies for about an inning, and he might be the third guy out of the chute. But he's a player who relies on command. That changeup is a really good pitch. When he attacks hitters, he is a very good pitcher, and he's still really young. I mean, he looks really young, and he is really young. And I think that's something to remember as well. They've got right now 3 spots locked down with Chase Anderson, Zach Davies, Jhoulys Chacin. He's the starting pitcher today for the Brewers. Then they've got questions after those 2, and that's kind of what this spring, one of the big storylines down here is who's going to fill those final spots. Giovanni Gallardo pitches today. He's in that mix. Wade Miley pitches tomorrow. He's in the mix. Some young guys. So they've got some decisions to make, and we'll see if there's an addition before the end of camp.
All right, sounds good. We know that the Brewers got the chance to face off against Shohei Ohtani, which was pretty cool. Brett Phillips had an interesting reaction that you recorded. In case you missed it, people who are watching, take a look.
Yeah, I got to see it. I got to see it all. I don't know. On the fastball I swung at and I fouled off. He did like, ooh, like I don't know. So maybe like I heard him say, ooh. So then I was like, oh gosh, here comes all the off speed. You know? But you didn't like that swing. No. So I only got to see one fastball. I heard it.
Adam, it was so fun to hear him talk about it. Oh my gosh, he was like giddy. It was so cool. So what was the rest of the team's reaction to seeing the two-way phenom there?
That he's good. Hard fastball, really good split-fingered pitch, kind of as his changeup. Phillips saw one curveballs. That's a pitch Ohtani will mix in. But look, they said it was straight too. So I think the hitters are never going to give too much credit to a guy. And I don't think they wanted to give him too much credit here. They thought it was, they'd like other looks at him. By the way, they could get another look at him. There's going to be a B game here at Maryvale Baseball Park on Friday where Ohtani is going to pitch. We'll see if any of the Brewers big league guys get out there for at-bats. But it works. The Brewers have some relievers that they're going to start mixing in, and the innings will be helpful to get that done. So if anyone wants a little extra baseball down here in Phoenix on Friday, 10 a.m. B game. You can watch Ohtani pitch, and you can hang around. And at 1 p.m., the Brewers play the Mariners at the field right next to me here. And then over on the minor league side, a team from Taiwan is coming in to play some Brewers minor league guys. So we're going to have a ton of baseball on Friday if anyone is bored.
Yeah, tons of people out there just desperate for baseball, so great information for anyone there looking to get some entertainment. Baseball apple doesn't fall far from the tree when you talk about Hernan Perez and his son, Adam. I thought this was pretty cool. Again, for anyone who didn't see it, let's take a look at his son imitating a couple of players there whose batting stances you know pretty well.
Can you do VR?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Okay, what about Keon Broxton? All right, this should be a simple one. Let's go, Daddy.
Oh my gosh, that is too much.
Perfect. All right, let's go Arcia. Hey, this might, I don't know if you can do them. What about Eric Thames? Can you do Eric? No? Okay, so we'll skip them. Let's go, what about Jesus Aguilar?
Four-year-old Christopher Perez, I could not stop smiling that entire time. How did he do?
Alexa, those we need. I'm gonna work on this. We need to get one where the guys are like side by side. On cut 4 right now. They have sort of images of the guys, but we need to do him straight on with video side by side because they are perfect. That Jesus Aguilar where he gets super still and taps his helmet is exactly the way Aguilar does it. And Christopher Perez also does a killer Ryan Braun where he holds the arm out to the umpire, just like Ryan Braun does, and then he gets into the stance. Christopher Perez is a riot in the clubhouse pretty much every day. Kind of become a member of the team. In fact, yesterday the Brewers were practicing rundowns right here on the main field, and they had Ed Cedar, whose voice you heard there, their third base coach. They had their bullpen coaches, Marcus Hamill and Robinson Diaz, and then 4-year-old Christopher Perez in full uniform, acting as one of the bunnies out there on the field, so the rest of the team could practice rundowns. So he's hilarious, and I'll tell you, he was doing the Ryan Braun impersonation perfectly when he was 2 years old. He's a savant. I keep telling David Stearns they need to sign this kid right now and get him into the organization.
Oh my gosh, absolutely amazing. Fantastic that you have that there to keep you entertained. Adam, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it and enjoy the action.
All right, see ya.
We'll talk soon. All right, Andrew Simon wrote an article outlining the 5 young pitchers that are poised for a breakout year. It is over on MLB.com. Check that out. So we wanted to ask you, give me a young pitcher you think is going to have a huge year, and you guys responded. So thankfully, you guys came through for that. So let's talk a little bit about some of these guys. Renee said Shohei Ohtani. Yes, I feel like a lot of people are not only rooting for that to happen, but will watch that happen. That'll be pretty cool. Bruce said Indians' Ryan Merritt. Okay. Very excited for a lot of these younger guys. Tim said, I think Kyle Hendricks is too old for the young tag right now, which I do think he is, but he expects him to challenge for the Cy Young this year. Interesting thoughts, Tim. Corey said Quintana will be big for the Cubs. I feel like that's going to be a really good one. They got him last year at the deadline. Justin said Jordan Montgomery because he will get his changeup back. Ooh, that's pretty interesting. And that'll be a really big pitch for him, specifically because the Yankees need all of those pitchers to not only stay healthy, but to perform. Jan Ho said Aaron Nola will dominate, yes, and he was named the opening day starter there, so that'll be cool to watch him there on opening day. Dennis said Sheffield will change the Yankees' minds about signing a pitcher at the deadline. Okay, pretty cool to see. And then Brian said John Gray will be the Cy Young debate, or at least in it, in the NL. I could agree with that because he had a great year last year. All right, thank you so much for all of your submissions, and we're going to have another question of the day tomorrow, another chance for you to participate as you do so well every day here on 1225 Live. Thank you again to everyone for joining us. Thank you so much for Will Leitch for coming in studio and Adam McCalvy for joining us from Phoenix, and for all of you for participating here on Facebook. We are going to do it all again tomorrow, 1225 Live. We'll see you then. Take care, everyone.